consumer psychology. And I'm going to bring this around because what I'm going to talk about is a call center now. Now, a call center can either be a dedicated call center, or it can be people at the restaurant making calls, or people going up to customers sitting at a table eating. By the way, the one thing you don't want to do if you think about restaurants, what happens? You're having a lousy time, the food is even worse, and you just took a bite of spaghetti, and just as you're slurping a little bit, the waiter says, "Oh, excuse me, everything okay, sir?" You know, "Oh, fine, yeah." But you always say it's fine, and you ask the manager at the restaurant, and say, "How are we doing?" "Oh, we're doing fine. Every customer says it's great." And nobody shows up. Word of mouth is bad, and the place closes. So do you believe people? You have to look at the context. So let's see, people are nervous, they're non-confrontational, they're afraid of so many things. So if I was sitting at that restaurant and somebody came over and asked me, "Is everything fine?" I'm of course going to tell them it's fine, even though I'm lying to them. So why would I ask my customers, "Is it fine?" And how do I change that formula? Because when you're going over and saying, "Is everything fine?" that's not about finding out if everything is good. That's about giving you a comfortable way of approaching a stranger and being able to move on. And people don't see it that way. So, and that same person, that same waitstaff or manager who might ask that question has certainly had that happen to him in a restaurant, and yet doesn't make the connection, the synaptic connection to, wait a minute, I lied to that manager at that other restaurant, even though it's my business, because I didn't want something that was confrontational. So don't my customers lie to me? He's not making that jump, that leap. But that's a leap you all can make, because now you're going to put yourself in everybody else's position. So I have a call center. I don't have a call center. Figuratively, I have a call center. I owned a call center once for a crime I didn't commit. And the happiest day of my life was when I got rid of the boat and the call center. No. The only boat I had fit in the bathtub, and that was it. So you have a call center, and you're trying to get an information from someone, or you're trying to sell them something, or close a deal, or enroll them. You have a sales opportunity, regardless of whether it's selling them on giving their information or selling them on a product. And we can debate all day long the value of this script or that script, and artificial intelligence and knowing your customer. I give you all of that. You've done targeting, you've done micro-targeting, you've appended data, you know your customer, you can tell them what color socks they're wearing. And then comes a level playing field. Now, how do you close the sale? Do you do it with fear? Do you do it with loss? Do you do it with fear of loss? Do you do it with a takeaway? What other way? Those will all work great. And we can go through all of the cognitive biases and the emotional biases, and we can go through every psychology book and figure out all the different losses and ways of selling. Flat playing field. Can anybody come up with anything else that would help make that sale? Another psychology that is never used. Well, you could guess all day. That's not the point here. What I'm going for is this. People think the same way as was said for the last 10,000 years. Fight or flight, fear of loss, wanting to be part of the crowd, acceptance, insecurities, all of this. There are things you can do that apply to sales using this psychology. So if we know this, what is it that people intuitively want to do? If I said, "Brian, will you do me a favor?" You're looking at me, and I saw your head go like this, and it was sort of involuntary. And what went through Brian's mind at that time? Does anyone have any idea? What do you think went through Brian's mind?
What he was thinking about or experiencing at that moment.
He was thinking about getting home to dinner and all that. No, he's thinking favor. Okay, well, what kind of favor? What do I have to do? What are you going to do for me? Do I get a favor back? This is the way the mind works. And can everyone see that now that I've explained it? It's how our minds work. So if I turned to Brian and said, "Brian, I really need your help." Now, what is Brian thinking? He's not questioning me. He's a typical human response that's been around for 10,000 years. Help, what can I do? What do you need? It's our instinct to want to help people. It's just how we're wired. Not everyone, but most people are wired that way. When someone asks for your help, they want to help you. They want to respond. So how do we use that in a selling situation? Well, we can create a very slick script, but how about we appeal to a baser instinct? If I know that if I ask Brian for help, and I know he is predisposed to help me, then what follows next? How do I then enlist his help and keep him there? Well, if I'm asking for help, what have I done? I've bared my stomach, rubbed my belly, like a dog rolls over and says, I give up, shows you their underbelly and they surrender. I've basically done that by saying, Brian, I need your help. May I ask for your help? So I can't now go back and be a slick salesperson, right? If I'm now showing a vulnerability, and this is the problem, even people who understand this psychology and they say, I'm going to ask for help. And then they go and they become this slick sales closer, and it negates everything they've done because intuitively Brian, who's tuned into helping, says, wait a minute, they don't need my help. And now he's mad because they tricked him. So how about this? And whether the morality of what I'm going to say, I'm not debating morality, I'm talking about psychology. Brian, I need your help. I'm new. You're one of my first calls, and I'm still in training, so I may screw this up. So can you bear with me and just give me a little help here? Because I want to get through this and make my boss proud, make myself proud, and my family, and just, can we do that? Can you help me a little bit through this? Okay, I just have a few questions that I have to ask, and I want to make sure I do it right. So what was it about the thing that helped, that you liked, that you didn't? I go on and on and on. I own that sale. Because I have disarmed him. I'm asking him for help. I'm showing him my belly. I'm being vulnerable. I'm expressing the need to have you help me along through this process. And I pretty much own that sale. I'm going to help you to help me close you. Well, Brian, so that I know and I can fill this out and I can learn and grow, what is it about the offer that doesn't appeal to you? Oh, I see. Well, no. In my training, I learned that that's not the case. You could actually have it in blue if you want, and you could have two of them for the price of one. I'm amazed someone didn't tell you that, but now I'm really proud that I learned that in training, and I can tell you that, Brian. Thank you. And so what happens now? Brian has told me what basically I need to tell him to sell and to close him, and he wants to help me, and he's helping me close him. Does everybody get this? Anybody disagree with this psychology? It works. It absolutely works. My goal here is to show you the techniques. I have a core belief. I believe when you're selling shit, you're a short-term hit and you'll be gone. And if you're selling quality, you're going to endure. And along with what Mark said very generously, thank you, is using a technique like this to help someone help themselves and to give them a quality product that you can stand behind, I don't think is dishonorable in any way, shape, or form. See, for me, I won't get involved in anything unless I believe in it, unless I absolutely 100% believe that it's moral, it's ethical, it has a benefit to people, and these are the kind of businesses I take. For me, there are certain things I couldn't get into the tobacco industry. I mean, it's not something I would ever be associated with. For me, it's not my belief system. For others, it's great. But so if I'm behind a company, then I'm going to use whatever it takes that's ethical and moral as my compass takes me to help introduce them to that product. So the technique I used with you, to me, is a wonderful technique to help you see things you didn't see before, to help communicate with you on a non-confrontational, non-defensive adversarial level where you're open to the communication and assisting me with it. It's a sales technique. Of course it's a sales technique. Everything from negotiating the cleaning of your room and bribing your kids is a sales technique. We all sell in some way because when you want something and you're willing to trade or give or negotiate, that is a sale. It's just some people have taken it to higher levels. To me, using this technique in the call center, a call center of any kind or front face-to-face, is a wonderful use of human nature and psychology to enlist that person to help you sell them and let them tell you what it takes to sell them. That's what I'm doing. It's taking that non-confrontational, negotiated selling camaraderie to a whole other level. I want to give you one more example, and then we're going to break for lunch. A company comes to me, at the time they were the largest. I may have told you, again, sometimes I have trouble remembering everything I had for breakfast or did last time, 3 months ago. They were selling, in the automotive industry, vehicle service contracts over the phone. I'll talk about this. And the closing rate for that is about 3%. That's about it. Out of every 100 people they call, 3 people buy. And it's a very high profit when they do sell, so 3 out of 100 works for the cost of calling. And nobody really achieves better than 3%. Once in a while they'll hit 4. But I came in and I was hitting 10 and 12%. Going to the bank every single day with 10 to 12%. Because I changed the whole nature of the sale. So what I want to do is break for lunch, and I want you to think about this part of renegotiating and re-engineering sales, and we'll sort of do spotting at lunch, and we'll come back and I'll dissect the whole process. But it has to do with loss, fear, protection, realization, presenting them with knowledge they didn't have, insight that I hand them that they otherwise would never have, an experience that they went through and dealt with and had no conscious awareness of it or its value because of the way we frame things. And that's going to lead us into a whole discussion on framing, how we see things, how we perceive value, how we perceive an offer, how we perceive a message, and colors and font size. From there, we're going to go back to what I promised before about persistency and saves and continuity and unsubscribes and all of that.